What would you say your 2025 FE highlights have been? Either
Um,
conversations in here or just general interviews and news stories. What would you put up there for 2025?
2025. Well, one of the highlights would be the I can't prove I've got hands.
Oh, yeah. That was classic.
That stands out.
That's peak 2025. I would say NASA, flat earthers turning NASA into a spy agency.
That's a good
That
one.
was
That's
a
a
good
big
one.
one. Yeah.
That is a big one, right? Because now, I mean, that was really their whole argument when you get down to it. I mean, I know they'll say, like, oh, the pendulum, oh, gravity, but what they really mean is, I believe the space cartoons. And now we just say, yeah, but they're a counterintelligence agency, aren't they? They do professional lying. And they have to be like, oh, shit. Yeah, I guess. I'm just waiting for them to be like, but they weren't at the time. They didn't used to be. What else? That interview with the astronaut and Bart Sibrel. And it's not strictly flat Earth, but it's on theme. I still haven't listened to it properly, but I kind of got the gist. Another embarrassment for the Globe narrative.
Right. Yeah. That old coot didn't really know what he was doing.
Poor
I don't
guy.
think.
What the hell did they tell him? He was like, wait a minute. As soon as Bart Sibrel was like talking like he doesn't believe in the moon landing, that guy's like, wait a minute. What interview is this? I'm trying to lie in 2025 live on a podcast about something that you were supposed to have lied about like 50 years ago. Taking over the English hub. Just good highlight.
Sorry. What was it?
Saying taking over English hub and starting a flat Earth movement in India.
That's a good one. Yeah, because quite a few have now like come back since encountering us there, and have gone, "Hey, listen, guys, I've been thinking, and I'm looking into this, and like,
Yeah.
it's good."
Yep, India's turning. Big domino.
Good old DJ, the India Whisperer.
Wait a minute, didn't India just go to the moon?
That's right. I'm seeing this. People are telling me that they photographed the Apollo craft or something. Look, there it is, guys. America totally did it. Little simps.
From what I saw of India's moon landing, you look at the 80s Atari game, though. Kind of sad.
Yeah, they weren't very inspiring.
Tiny budget.
What year was it that those boys decided to dig a hole at the beach, and then the news crew came by and was like, "This was a comet or a meteor or an
Oh,
asteroid, whatever."
I posted that in the mods channel not that long ago again. That was like, was that in Ireland? I think that was maybe in
It was
Ireland.
UK. I know that because
Might
they
have been
weren't
last
English.
year. I think it might have been last year. But that was a good one.
Yeah, I would make that my
Lopez.
more than
Getting so excited. It was like this local globehead that was on the news who was supposedly some kind of meteorite expert, and he was like, I just was walking down the beach and I saw this big hole, and I thought that's not a normal hole, and look, I found this little rock inside, and you can actually see the scorch marks for where it entered the Earth's atmosphere. And the reporter's like, whoa, cool. And then it cuts to like an Instagram clip of two boys just digging a big hole in the beach the day before, like, way. And it's that exact hole. These fools. Come on, someone find me some glowbirds, or says who banned them all.
Yeah, I just looked over the panel. I don't see any spinning globe enthusiasts. Maybe there's somebody, though. Anybody got any globe evidence? Go ahead.
Don't you know the laws of physics are suspended for a flat Earth?
Yeah, I've heard that. They don't work. Physics doesn't work on a flat Earth.
There's no horizon on a flat Earth because that's only globe physics.
Globe physics. Oh, man.
How many courses in physics did that guy fail? Like all of them?
You know, that kind of with that kind of mindset, you'd pass with flying colors. As long as you say globe enough times, I think they just pass you now.
I think as long as you pick the multiple choice that says oblate spheroid, you get an A+.
Is this Hebrew Hammer guy? Is that the same guy who's come in the last few weeks and is just totally brain dead and clueless?
Could be, could be. What do you say, Hebrew?
I say you guys cannot get internet in Antarctica without satellite.
That's him.
Sounds like it. Internet in Antarctica. Wow. That's what you're starting with?
Yeah.
Is that how you prove Earth's a spinning ball?
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
You need satellites, don't you?
Rip. What do you mean satellite? What are you talking about?
You need satellite coverage to get internet and cell service in Antarctica. There's no service for usual service, as you got in other continents, like you got in Antarctica.
What do you mean when you say satellite?
You know exactly what I mean. Satellites you get for telephones and internet.
Telephones? No, I don't think they're using satellites as you understand them. No, they're just like cables and towers.
You think there's radio towers in Antarctica? Yeah.
Well, maybe not in Antarctica, but generally, phones, internet.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about generally. That's why I brought it up.
Well, they could have a whole number of technologies. I mean, they could have little ground stations, communication stations, all kinds of things. So what do you mean when you say satellite specifically?
I'm saying exactly that. I'm saying the whole of Antarctica. The only
Could you show
service
me?
there.
Could you show me a photo of what you're talking about?
A photo of a satellite.
Yeah.
Sure thing, buddy.
Wait, don't they launch satellites from Antarctica?
Yeah, so that they can get internet in Antarctica.
Yeah, aren't they attached to balloons?
Who told you that?
They did.
I saw a video of it.
What about if I give you a video of a satellite orbiting in outer space without a balloon? What will you say there? It's a CGI.
Well,
Is that the one where the giant head pops up in the background? The giant human head?
Show us what you mean about this satellite in outer space. Post it in the chat.
And I sent it in the goddamn the side chat. Yeah,
All right, I'll have a look.
that's satellite for you. See what I mean? Huh?
Yo, what ranked level do I unlock the
So
science
is that?
ending behind flat Earth?
Let me see. I don't know. This looks. I don't know. Is this a real video?
It's a real video, man.
How'd you know that?
Because if you go by is a real video, then every video from space is fake, yeah? And why would Starlink fake its own launch? Huh?
That doesn't make any sense. What you just said. How did you verify that this is a real video? Is what I'm asking.
Because Starlink posted it and said it's a real video.
All right. So, because a person said it was real, that means it's real. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's obviously not the case. So you don't know it's
Guess he
real.
believes in
You
Bigfoot.
believe it.
Okay, so are we talking about, so you are denying any satellite orbiting the Earth, yeah?
Well, I just asked you for evidence of what you were claiming, and you've just given us a video that you don't even know is real.
How do you
What
know,
evidence would you have
how
of
do you,
it? Like,
how do you know any evidence
because I
you
just asked
see?
you how you know it's real, and you just said you don't. You just believe it because a person said it was real.
I don't believe it, I know it because my body sent also satellite in space, yeah?
No,
So I know satellites work.
nope. You
What
just
I mean,
watched a video on YouTube or something and believed it. It sounds like.
my body sent a satellite in space with his college group, and they
Oh, did
received
he? Cool story,
it,
bro. Cool story, bro.
and he received signal from it. So
Okay, show us
I know.
that then. Post that in the chat.
By the way, we're using satellites to communicate to each other. Appreciate it.
What's that?
No, don't mind him.
He thinks the internet runs off satellites.
You
Okay,
think the internet's from satellites?
so taking my explanation of what a satellite is, yeah, and showing you a video of it. Let's say let's disregard the is it like a fake video or what? You wholeheartedly disbelieve in every satellite that billions of people claims exist, yeah?
Well, it's not really a question of what I disbelieve or not. You just made the claim. We asked for evidence. You gave us a video that you don't know is real. It's not evidence.
Okay, then how do the people get that satellite signal in Antarctica?
What people? Who are you talking about?
People who live in Antarctica. Let's take the South Pole Station. Yeah, where is the neutrino observatory? Yeah. How do they get
You
there?
asked them how they get it.
I can show you a video of a guy telling you how they get it.
Okay, and what does he say?
He say they get it from Starlink.
And what does he say Starlink is?
Just what I told you, man. They have a dish which connects to the satellite. Yeah. You understand how
Did he
satellites work?
verify that video himself as well? Right, like you did.
What? So okay, so it's fake. They're putting out a dish, getting the
I'm
internet
afraid
connection
so, dude. It's all
by I
fake.
don't know what. Is there
So, like
like a
everything
radio?
is
Yeah, there's no
not
little
real,
floating
true?
metal boxes in a
Well,
vacuum.
let's go by deduction. Is there radio towers for signals in Antarctica? Do commute them?
I don't know. Which part of Antarctica did you check?
You can check. Is there any in Antarctica at all?
Okay, so did you check?
I looked for it. Yeah, I researched it. There isn't because
Okay,
there's
when did you check?
yesterday.
You went to Antarctica yesterday?
No, I searched it up online
Oh, well, how do you know what's written online is true?
because I don't need to do something myself to know if it's true or not.
That's again not
Yeah,
an answer. So you can't. You're not telling
it
us
is
how
an
you
answer.
verify any of these beliefs you have. You're just saying you believe them.
So you have to check everything yourself to know if it's true. Yeah, you don't
I'm just
believe
asking you
anything
for
you
evidence of
didn't
your
check.
claims, and you're just saying I just believe what I read online.
This is the most bullshit shit
And
I've ever
you're
heard.
saying
The idea that measures space
online.
is there is no way there could be satellites and space is fake.
Yes,
You're
correct. Space is
saying
fake.
so. You're saying nothing online is factually correct. Yeah,
No, that's obviously not what I said. Cool story though.
that's exactly what you said.
No, it's not.
So if you don't check what you read online, it's not factually correct. You don't have the evidence to prove it. Yeah.
Well, if your argument relies on something you're reading online, then
Yeah.
it's very reasonable to say, how do you know that what you've read online is true and accurate? And if you say you
Y-
can't, then you don't know.
Judging by that logic, anything you read in books, in
Wouldn't you have
online,
to prove it's false?
in magazines, in libraries,
No, no,
nothing is
no.
true
Okay, someone's got
until you prove
confused.
it.
Who was the guy who just said something about don't you have to prove it's false?
Isn't that burden on you?
No, 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 no. The burden is on the one making the claim, right? So if you claim in Antarctica there's floating metal boxes in a vacuum sending them signals, that would be on the person claiming there's floating metal boxes in a vacuum sending signals to prove,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Oh, so they would just send a picture of satellites and radio towers in Antarctica. And then now you would have the burden to disprove that.
Well, no, but no. So he
No,
can present an image or a video of a floating metal box in space, quote unquote.
he did.
And we ask him, how do you know that's a real video? And he says he doesn't. He just believes it.
Okay, and he sent you a video. Now it's your burden to disprove it, no?
No, it's his burden to prove that it's authentic.
It's by Starlink.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's authentic.
So if New York Times tells me there's a new word, is that authentic or what?
Well, a new word is a bit different than a floating metal box in a vacuum. But
If Elon Musk tells me he sent shit to space, is that authentic or what?
if Elon Musk said he flew around the Earth on a unicorn and he showed you a video of it, does that mean it's real?
Did I see the unicorn launch into the sky?
No, you might have seen a rocket launch into the sky, and then they'll show you a video where they unleash the unicorn from the rocket, and then you see on the video he's riding around the Earth on a unicorn. Does that mean it's real?
There's full video proof of it. Yeah,
You see the unicorn from the ground?
I'll believe it if
No,
there's.
you don't see floating metal boxes in a
You
vacuum.
see satellites. You can see satellites in the ground. You can.
Oh yeah, well you can see
Specifically,
you can
SpaceX
see a little
satellite.
light in the sky. Yeah,
It's your
No,
burden
get a
to
telescope.
disprove it.
You can
So
zoom in.
wrong.
I'm telling
yeah,
you.
you can see a little light in
Especially
the
the
sky.
SpaceX one. You can see it.
Yeah, you can see a
Bro,
little light
it's
in the
your
sky.
burden to disprove the satellites. What? I don't
No,
know why you're
it's
so
on you to
mad at
prove it. There's not a burden to disprove a claim
He
with
just
no evidence.
proved that something is flying in the air
Oh,
above our Earth.
something is flying in the air. Okay, that wouldn't be satellites then, because satellites would be in a vacuum of
Above
space.
If it's
our Earth.
flying through the air, it would be
Floating.
the fastest thing
Okay,
ever created.
can you prove
Seemingly
to me that you
impossibly
can make
high.
a metal box float with no propulsion?
Yeah, it seems impossible, right?
Yeah.
Without a little something called gravity.
Or orbit?
Called.
Yep.
He was going to say gravity. You going to say gravity?
Orbit, gravity, yes.
Yes, orbit and gravity.
Yeah. I thought gravity pulled
Otherwise,
things
it's
down.
impossible. Otherwise, we're looking at something that is impossibly high, going impossibly fast across the sky.
Wait. Doesn't gravity pull
is
things down?
actually a thing, by the way.
I thought gravity pulled things down.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so this is
So how
you
is
need
it
to learn
making the
more
box
about how
float?
gravity works. This is just an
How's it making the
education
box
problem.
float?
Okay, yeah, this is an education problem.
Yeah, educate us. So your claim about a force that pulls things down is somehow making these floating metal boxes in a vacuum float. How does that work?
Because if you go high enough, if the force pulling you down is equal to the opposite force, then you will not go down.
What opposite force?
You understand that, right?
What opposite force?
Well, it can be from relative density. It could be from
Relative density.
it could be from literally propulsion.
No, because they said they're not
There's
propelled.
a number of,
They don't have thrusters
and
on them.
eventually, I'm trying to explain this.
Yeah,
Like
but
the reason you have the
makes no
rocket
sense.
in the beginning, the reason you have the rockets and not an airplane and something else is to achieve going that high, escape velocity, so on. It's
Yeah, and then you've got a metal box
I would say it's not
floating
rocket
with
science,
no
but
thrusters or
there is some
propulsion.
rocket science in it.
So what's propelling the box to fly around?
Well, once you're in orbit, you don't need further propulsion.
That sounds like a cool story. So can you demonstrate a floating metal box in a vacuum?
Again, this is. Did we say vacuum?
Yeah,
There's
space is supposed to be a
There's
vacuum,
vacant
no?
particles in space.
But it's supposed to be a near perfect vacuum.
Near perfect vacuum. It's. What do you mean supposed to? What do you mean supposed to?
Yeah.
Who told you it's supposed to be?
Literally said it
There's
yourself.
vacant
Story, isn't
particles
it?
in
Outer
space.
space is a vacuum, no? Does that change now?
What?
It's a vacuum without air, but I'm pretty sure it still has shit in it.
Yeah, there's
Like
stuff in space.
Yeah, but it's a vacuum. It's like the highest pressure
Stuff
vacuum
in
you
it.
can imagine.
I don't think. I think. I don't think. I think you're having trouble.
You are
understanding
genuinely like a
You
4-year-old.
guys are getting confused about the whole vacuum story, huh?
There is. I can look through my
Is there a
telescope.
vacuum
see
beyond the sky,
planets,
like they tell us?
comets, sun. And you're
Sun,
telling me
comet?
there's
Are
nothing?
you just saying words now?
Yeah, but notice how you say it's not a perfect vacuum. It's a
Yeah.
almost.
Like on Earth, you get vacuum chambers where you can pull the air out, and it'll be a very low pressure environment in that vacuum chamber. Space is supposed to be way more of a vacuum than anything we can achieve on Earth. Yeah.
Well, the vacuum. I mean, the pressure. We have the ways in which we test
Uh-huh.
vehicle,
Go on.
machines that we fly up. We have testing facilities for low,
Okay. So can you show
and
us them showing a floating metal box in one of their big vacuum chambers?
again, it's about gravity. Like,
Okay. Is that a no? You
if
can't
you don't
demonstrate
understand,
that?
like, so basically, okay, I'll explain it in a few seconds if you really don't understand this. Mass attracts mass. If you're on Earth, the center of mass of Earth is going to pull things towards Earth. So
But you're saying it doesn't.
this is why you don't have, two bowling balls or two baseballs on Earth.
Well, that's what I said earlier.
Together,
You're saying gravity
because
is supposed to pull things down, but you're saying it's not. They're floating around.
no, I'm trying to explain this to you. Okay, so if you have a force that's generated by a large mass that pulls things towards it, eventually, the further away you go from it, the weaker the force is going to be. It's like a magnet. So once you get to far enough outside of it, the force pulling you down is going to be virtually zero.
But you just said it was gravity that was causing them to float. But now you're saying it's not gravity. Gravity's got zero effect.
No. Gravity and the lack thereof of when it's acting on you.
Hold on,
dude.
Dude, pause the button here. You're not even repeating the correct pseudoscience. Their story
I'm trying to
is
explain
that
to someone.
you're not explaining it right. Listen,
No. I don't need to hear this if you don't.
Failing to explain it right. Their explanation has nothing to do with gravity. If they say the reason why something orbits is that it's falling towards Earth, but Earth moves out of the way before it hits the ground.
Yes, there will go slightly down. Yes, this is why eventually. This is why satellites, the way they come out of. This is why the way they come out of. You
don't know what you're talking about.
The way they come out of service, though, is through falling down. So correct.
Falling down
slowly. They will.
You
they will come
they
down.
don't fall down.
Wait, what is the crux of this argument? If gravity is real or not?
It's no. It's not an argument. The guy asked. The guy is asking how things orbit.
We're gonna stop derailing. Let's get back on topic.
Yeah,
JJ, you get a lot of mic time. You don't need to derail when we got new people here.
Yeah, the contention is these guys are saying that there's some floating metal boxes in a vacuum beyond the sky that are just floating around the Earth in orbit.
You mean like satellites?
Yes, exactly. They're claiming that those are floating metal boxes in a vacuum, and we're asking them for some evidence of that.
Evidence of satellites being real?
Well, specifically floating metal boxes in a vacuum.
Well, do you agree that we see metal?
Was that a question? You finished? Or did you get cut off?
Yeah, I heard, do you agree metal? Yes, I do like heavy metal indeed.
So what's the evidence of floating metal boxes in a vacuum? Beyond, they told us so.
Well,
gravity.
There's a bit more implied there. They're floating around a sphere, and the sphere bit is the thing that we are most interested in, to be honest.
Yeah, Gunslinger
we
left. The guy you're talking to originally. This is why it's important to keep some of these squawkers on mute, because that Gunslinger was the one you were talking to, and so once he saw an opening, he ran away.
No, I'm sure it was Gunslinger was the
original guy,
but then we went on to a second guy, didn't we?
Oh, I just thought it was just a bunch of squawkers, and then Gunslinger left.
No, we went for the second guy. There's a couple of American guys.
One of them was J.J. Fish or whatever the hell he is.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, Loomered. Isn't that J.J.?
Just butcher in gravity and satellites and the whole globe fantasy. Yeah, that sounds like him.
Yeah.
Just butchering it. I mean, it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, this is what I'm saying. You guys you always side with Google. Your framework is to Google it. But then when it comes time to repeat what you read on Google, you can't even regurgitate what Google said. It's like all you got to do, like your whole worldview is you type a question to Google and repeat back what you read, and you fail to do so.
It's mass attracting mass. That's how the boxes float in a vacuum. Or did all the satellite guys leave?
Yeah, I mean, just type in, how do satellites float? It's not gravity. Because the Earth is a continuous state of free fall, or because they are in a continuous state of free fall, constantly falling towards the Earth, but the Earth is moving out of the way.
I don't think they're ready to have their minds blown and bent as the globe would require. They've made their own little vague idea. To be confronted with what the actual claim is would melt their brains, I'm sure.
Yeah, they'll come in here and say the reason why satellites float is because they get to a spot that's so far away from Earth, they're effectively weightless. It's like, the gravity isn't affecting them anymore. If that's the case, then how are they falling towards the Earth, but Earth is moving out of the way? It's like, at least take some time to at least try to read what the experts are saying that you say you trust. You trust these people. If you trust them so much, why not say the weird thing? Say the weird thing. Earth moves out of the way. The satellite would hit the ground, but by the time the satellite gets to where it would hit the ground, Earth has moved out of the way.
Yeah.
And they want to say, oh, I think you flat earthers have an education problem. Really? Because all I did was read Google. That's more than you can do. Like a 7th grade reading level.
I love that. That's what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for that great balance of immense Dunning-Kruger and massive ignorance combined. So they'll say, well, the problem here is you need to be educated. So this is what's going on. And then they proceed to just butcher the entire globe claim.
Yeah, like any way you type the question now, any format, format or ask it, why do people say satellites float? How do satellites float? It tells you they don't float. They're not floating. They're falling.
So you guys are against the idea of satellites because if the Earth is flat, then that wouldn't make any sense, right?
No, it requires motion of the Earth. Your explanation of satellites requires the Earth to be moving at breakneck speeds. Where is this motion detected?
It requires a curved ball Earth. It requires a ball Earth that's in motion, and it requires a ball Earth that's in motion through a vacuum. You need all of those things and more, really, but those are just 3 big, obvious ones, and we have none of them.
Yeah, Arnold, your pre-assumption that we're against anything is incorrect. We actually just want any kind of evidence, that is empirical to prove that these things exist. The first thing we would need is a sphere Earth for them to be falling around. So that's the thing that we're looking for right now.
Okay. Yeah, when we're saying satellites, and you're like, oh, you don't believe in satellites. I mean, we're not denying that there's aerial technology in the sky, right? Which, when you say, I see a satellite, all you see is a moving light in the sky. We're not denying.
Sure nobody can see satellites from Earth.
Okay, so
you
then
just said you did. That was your first proof. You saw them. You looked up and you saw something moving across the sky.
But you mean
no? Those are planes moving across the sky. I'm pretty sure satellites are out of our field of view. I mean, I could be wrong. Like, I'm not arguing that.
Well, now people claim that the little lights in the sky they see are satellites, and yeah, you could call them that. But there's a big distinction between recognizing moving lights in the sky and potential aerial technology, and saying these are little floating or falling metal boxes in a vacuum around a spinning moving ball, Earth. So that's what we're disputing, because there's no curvature of Earth's surface, so it can't be a ball. There's no motion of it, so it can't be a spinning, wobbling, tilting ball. And there's no vacuum of space, because we can't have a high pressure system just existing locally in a little section of a vacuum. It doesn't work like that. So we're not in space. So the story that they tell us about floating metal boxes in a vacuum of space just isn't real.
Okay.
But if you think you've got evidence to the contrary, feel free.
Because that would come next. Your evidence would come next, and then you could have a platform to say that we've denied something, we don't understand it, until you present the evidence. Just saying that we've rejected it is a massive copium hit. That's a massive.
Okay, well, I misunderstood.
Yeah, hold on, dude. You are, at that point, not you, the royal you, the person, would be failing to present evidence because of somebody else would be the causal agent of that. Like, hey, I would go do this. Like, junkies, I could get cleaned every day, but my ex keeps, hound or something like that. This massive amounts of copium. That's what
let's just check with them. Let's just check with them. Now that you've heard our position generally, would you challenge that? I think we do have curvature, motion, or space to be evident in reality.
Honestly, I don't want to fight you guys. I'm just here for the party.
No, it's not a fight. I'm just asking you a question.
Well, I don't want to argue with you guys.
I don't want to argue either. I'm looking to avoid
He didn't say anything.
I would like to have a conversation. You want to have a conversation?
Except these conversations usually turn into arguments.
No. There's no need for it to turn into an argument, as long as you're just honest and don't use any weird tactics or fallacies unreasonably. I mean, we're just looking to discuss the empirical evidence of where we live, because as far as we can tell and measure, it's just flat and motionless, which is contrary to what they're teaching everyone in school, right? Showing on the media, all that. So I would ask you how deeply you've looked into this. Have you found any good evidence?
Yeah, we're not looking for a contentious debate. This is not even necessarily a debatable topic. It's objective. So in an objective topic, you would just present the measurements and the evidence that proves your position. There's no arguing about opinions. So if there is evidence that doesn't beg the question or affirm the consequent, we would love to see it.
Okay.
Can you think of any? Like, what's the evidence for the globe in space?
The evidence for space? Well, I mean, I think the planets that we see are kind of a good sign of that. I mean, you know, it's space, so
yeah, how
it's
far
kind of
away are the planets?
ocean.
How far away are the planets?
Couple million miles or some shit like that. I don't know.
How do you know that?
Assuming symmetric speed of light, you can do radar ranging.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the medium that it's in?
I don't know. That's not my department.
A lot of assumptions go into that.
This is the problem, though, because when you say, well, planets are evidence of space, you're basically saying you observe a light in the sky that we call a planet, but then you're just accepting the story that you've been told about it and what medium it's in, how far away it is, and all that. The light itself doesn't tell you what medium it's in or what it is or how far away it is. It just tells you you're observing a little light in the sky. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're looking for evidence of a globe in space, as in the ground we walk on being a spinning ball in a vacuum, it's not really sufficient to say, well, you can look up and you can see lights in the sky. Yeah, but those could be any number of things, and it doesn't tell us what we walk on. So what we're really looking for is measurement of the surface, and measurement to be consistently showing that it is this ball that they've told us, and that it's flying around at millions of miles an hour, even though no one detects any motion whatsoever. So can you think of anything like that? Has anyone measured the Earth? Has a scientist ever come along and measured a globe? You ever heard of one?
Pretty sure some ancient Greek guy did something like that. I forgot the name of him.
Yeah, that's the story they tell of a guy called Eratosthenes. He didn't measure the Earth. They say, and I mean, this is like a apocryphal story at this point. There's no primary documentation of this, but they say he erected two, well, depends which story you read. He had a well and a stick, or a well and a statue, like an obelisk. Basically, he took angle measurements of the shadows being cast by the sun on these points, and he assumed that if the Earth were a globe, this would be the circumference, etc. But he already had the assumption of a globe. He wasn't trying to prove one or measure one. And you could do the same test, if you want to call it that, on a flat surface, and it works out perfectly fine. So he didn't measure it.
We didn't measure what?
He measured shadows from sticks. But we're looking for measurements of curvature, motion of the surface.
Yeah, the surface, yeah.
You ever thought about that, the curvature? Like what that actually would be physically?
The curvature as in just how the angle at which a globe would be?
How much it would drop down and away from you over a distance if the Earth was this globe that they're telling you. Do you know the claimed rate of the curvature? Like per mile or per kilometer?
Not off the top of my head, but I'm going to try to find it out.
Yeah, have a look. Have a guess first, actually. 10 miles, how much do you think it dropped due to curvature, the surface? Over 10 miles.
It says, what is it? 8 inch per mile squared, so not 10 miles, but just per mile.
Okay, so what would that work out as 10 miles?
80 inches per 10 miles, I think.
No, because it's squared, remember? Per mile squared. So it's 8 inches per.
So 80 squared, so that's 640?
You need to square the miles.
Yeah, square the miles, and then that's yeah. So if you square the mile, then you multiply that, times 8, and then you divide that by 12 because it's inches, right? And that gives you the amount of feet of drop over distance.
Huh. So wouldn't that be 80 squared? Because if you're asking for 10 miles, so then it's 8
you almost had it right. You just needed another 0.
Yeah.
So
10 times 10 times 8. So that's 800.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, my connection or something dropped there, so I might have been talking to some people. So where did we get to?
800? 800 feet, was it? Inches?
No, 800 inches, and then you divide that by 12, and that gives you your feet of drop over 10 miles.
So what would that be?
66.67. Well, technically it's 66666 and then 7,
Ooh,
but
66666. Ooh, that's a weird coincidence. That's weird. Why is that? It's like the devil number or whatever, isn't it? That's weird. Strange.
Well, it ends with a 7. It's only, how many 6s is that? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
When you have an infinitely looping 6, what do you do at the end?
You round it up.
There you go.
Okay, so we're saying 66.6 feet of devilish curvature. Is that right? Over 10 miles?
I suppose.
Okay, so do you think that's ever been measured in reality?
I don't know. Time to find out.
You think it should be possible, right? I mean, they're telling us that they're landing little robots on the light in the sky we call Mars and driving it around for a few years, like the most amazing remote control RC car you could ever imagine. You think they can measure 66 feet of drop over 10 miles, right?
Yeah, suppose so. So, I mean,
it'll surprise you to learn then that no one has. And no one can. Because it doesn't exist outside of the calculators. But anyway, I'm going to have to drop off, but that's a good point for someone else to take over on. Let's figure out where this 66 feet is coming from and if it's real in reality for the Earth to be a globe. But anyway, good chats, boys. Happy Boxing Day. So, peace.
Peace out, Cyclone.
Peace out.
So yeah, the crux of the argument is this is a claim that there should be, right, 66 feet of drop between point A and point B over the distance of 10 miles, vertical drop that we could measure. And we've been looking and looking and looking, and we're not finding that. So we're wondering where this claim came from. And we've even measured the Earth ourselves to see if this drop exists, and we're not finding it. We're actually finding 0 drop. And that's why we're here. Because in reality, this claim does not hold up.
Do you think there's an ice wall?
No, the United States military does, though. That's what they call it down there in Antarctica or whatever. That's what they call that. Nobody here is claiming any ice walls. I have no idea.
I saw some map of like the flat Earth, like ideology, and there's like a bunch of places outside of the ice wall.
Yeah, it's kind of a straw man.
Conjecture.
the ice
purely
wall.
speculation. So anybody making a map on top of an azimuthal equidistant projection, which is a projection of a globe, which is a polar coordinate system, so it's a map of a map, a projection of a projection. That would be silly for any flat earther to do and say that I live on a flattened out globe. I have no idea why they would be doing that.
Yeah, a map really is just where the stars are located in the sky, not based off of a person's perspective, not where anything is on Earth. It's a cool story. It's about as cool of a story as, outer space. It's fiction, unprovable. That was odd. He left quickly. Who was the guy we were talking to a minute ago? Not before this last one?
Arnold, I
Was it
think.
Arnold?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
So, anyways,
Go ahead.
We're not looking for any kind of arguments. That oddly enough, it is sort of sometimes where it evolves into is people badgering one another, but we're honestly just looking for any evidence of Earth curve measurements in reality. And there are none being proffered to us, only calculations if they beg the question of a ball Earth in the first place. So I'm hoping that our conversation is not contentious or anything like that, but that you might kind of scratch your head and go, "That is interesting. Where are the actual curvature measurements?" Because the surveyors, the people who measure the Earth between points, well, they're assuming that the Earth is flat in their measurements, and they're creating elevation profiles of a flat plane. And then they'll take all of those measurements and they'll wrap them around a presupposed ball and call that geodesy. So the presupposed ball, if it doesn't exist in reality, is just another way of thinking about the Earth, even though you just measured it flat.
And if you really want to get technical, it's more about how you see things in the sky and not how the Earth is perceived. Based off of each person's own personal sphere of vision. But, go back to Eratosthenes a little bit, just to give you a little bit of background, right? So he had two angled measurements. He had a 90, and he had an angle from another location that wasn't 90. And he had to assume that, number one, the Earth was a ball, and that number two, the sun was casting parallel light rays onto the Earth, and number three, that the sun was an infinite distance away from the Earth. With those three assumptions already, I'm just going to go ahead and poison the well a little bit. We don't even know if Eratosthenes even existed. Any story that was told about him came several hundred years, supposedly, after he would have been alive. So there's no documents supporting that he was ever even living. But anyway, you go back to that story, right? The cities of Syene and Alexandria, they're not even on the same longitude or the same latitude, which you would expect them to be if you wanted to get like a straight line arc segment of the Earth, based off of the sun being in its location. Yeah. Other things that come into play is he was in one location, somebody else was in another location, supposedly. And how did they communicate? How did they know that was solar noon at the other location? And how did they communicate? Did they send a text message? Hey, now take your measurement. It's directly overhead. Now take your measurement. It's just a weird story. Anyway, when you look it up, that's the only story they give about the measurement of the Earth. Since then, nobody's ever measured it. Now here's the trippy part, right? So now that you have numbers, right, you know a size. From that size, you can derive a distance to the horizon where the edge of the sphere would start to curve away from it. And based off a 6-foot observer, 5.5 feet to 6 feet, you're looking at roughly about 2.8 to 3 miles to that horizon. And then anything that goes beyond that is going behind the curve of the Earth. And now you can make the claim, oh yeah, we could see a really tall object like a tall building behind the curve, right? Or we could see a really large boat behind the curve because it would still be sticking out, but the curve would be blocking the bottom portion of it. Problem is, when we actually go out and do measurements, we end up seeing, the ship 10, 15 miles away, and then the supposed curve that should be blocking the boat in front is actually behind that. Now you can make the argument, oh, what about a bigger ball? Well, then there's a lot more assumptions that come into play. But now your orbits of your satellites are gone because the orbit of satellites require the Earth to be a certain size because you're making a concentric circle around the Earth. The distance to the moon is gone. The distance to the sun is gone. The entire cosmic story hinges on the Earth being the size 24,900 miles in circumference. 3959 miles for the radius. Completely hinges on it. If you don't have that, the entire story is wrong. And then, if you have the surface of the Earth not curving, that means the surface of the Earth is flat. And if the surface of the Earth is flat, whatever is happening in the sky, no matter how weird it sounds, it's only happening over a flat Earth because you measured the Earth to be flat. So what do you think about that, Arnold?
I mean, makes sense.
Yeah, I don't want it to get lost that the people in here that are of the flat persuasion didn't start out like we did start out believing the same thing that everybody else believed, that they lived on a spinning water ball flying through an ever expanding vacuum. We bought that story hook, line, and sinker. But the more that we observe the Earth and the distances between points that we can see, without any obstruction of Earth curvature in between those 2 points, has made us start to ask questions. We are simply people asking questions. And so the more that we ask questions, the less reliable that story becomes. Because if the Earth is indeed curving in reality, at a consistent rate, which is it is supposed to do, and people will come in here and say, "Oh, well, it's a what do they call it? It's a geoid, or it's a spheroid, an oblate spheroid." But then we look at the claimed dimensions, which is around the equator versus around the poles in this particular mathematical model. The difference is 0.3%. That means that it is 99.7% perfectly spherical or spherical shape. So any deviations from the sphere are going to be, let's say, 0.3 off. They won't even tell us where the irregularities occur. So we have to operate on the assumption or the claim that it's basically a perfect sphere.
No,
and
it is
we
not,
have no
because like
curvature.
you have mountains, you have valleys, you have like.
Yeah, but even at a very high altitude, it would be smoother than a cue ball.
Yeah, so the irregularities as far as topography are concerned on this spheroid, the heights of the mountains aren't even really a factor because the percentages are so low, it will not really augment the sphericity of the object.
Yeah, like let's say you have a
throughout the whole
let's say you have a
world,
let's say you have hold on
maybe
hold on hold on bro hold on. Let's say you have let's say you have a mountain that's like 2 kilometers high, right? That 2 kilometers is minuscule in a diameter that is 12,500 kilometers. You're talking about 2 pixels out of 12,500 pixels.
Yeah, but these 2 pixels are not the only pixels. The whole world has mountains, valleys, so all of them combined, yeah, it makes sense that it will like impact a bit.
What's 2 pixels here, 1 pixel there, 3 pixels here, 2 pixels there? What is that in the grand scheme of 12,500 pixels wide?
But all of those 12,500 pixels, they are not perfectly aligned, so there will be
Dude, you know what a diameter is, right?
I know.
Hold on, sheepdog. We'll just end this argument real quick. That's why we measure over water, because the water is supposed to be equidistant from the center of the presupposed sphere. So we're not talking about mountains and valleys, we're talking over the surface of water. What are the irregularities that you are claiming and can be measured over the surface of water?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I am not like a specialist.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the water, because the water is supposed to be maintaining a level, which, by the way, the definition of level is having no point higher or lower than another, which does refute the idea of a sphere. But let's say that the definition of level is equidistant from the center of a sphere. That would dictate that the curvature rate would be approximately 8 inches per mile squared. Or if you were an observer at the beach looking over the water, your geometric physical horizon for a 3-foot observer or a 6-foot observer would be 3 miles away, and that's giving you a couple of tenths.
No, it depends. Because
okay, so what does it depend on?
Depends on where you are on the earth, because
we're talking over water, sea level.
It's not a perfect sphere. It's not a perfect sphere.
Okay, where are the irregularities? This is fine. He's making a claim. Where are the irregularities so we can compensate for? I thank you. What is the place that we can find? Thank you. You can keep saying geoid. We're talking about 0.3%. We'll go ahead and fudge your 0.3%.
So basically, if you just pick like the water level, basically it is oval, and also there will be like
how much of an oval? How much of an oval?
I don't know. I don't have the data.
What we do, and you're welcome to look it up. The polar radius versus the equatorial radius, the difference is about 13 miles. So you're looking at about 13 pixels over a 4,000 pixel radius or an 8,000 pixel diameter with 26 pixels. It's a perfect sphere, bro. It's as perfect as you're going to get. It's more perfect than a basketball.
It is still not.
Neil deGrasse Tyson says it is smoother than rounder than a billiard ball or a pool ball. Do you know what a billiard ball looks like?
Yeah.
Okay, so Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of the world's premier science communicators, says that it is smoother and rounder than a billiard ball. So, once again, I'm asking you, where are we going to find the curvature on this cue ball that we're measuring?